welcome to Bemeism. Tonight we're going to be talking about the goal of the soul and so much more. So we just wait for everyone to catch up. There's been a lot going on. Changes are happening all the time. We're living in a world where we don't really know where it's going. So technically, are we just trying to hold on to our own insanity? Okay, I've just seen that it's gone live. So hi everybody, I'll introduce it again. Welcome to Bemeism, where I teach you about what happened in my awakening that got me to understand the power and the gift of 3 letters, 2 words, and it simply said, be me. So trying to understand the human story, then you have to try and understand your inner story, which is the dark night of the soul, depression, mental health, mental illness, and then finding ourselves trying to come out at the other end as the butterfly. In my case, it's the be me. So tonight we're going to be talking about the soul because, as I always say, it is the most important thing, and it's one of the things that's very difficult to try and understand. What does it mean to understand the soul? So as you've heard me say, many people, we're not human beings because it's killing us. I think that's going to be the name of the book. We've got Hembaci coming in there, Eternal Bliss, welcome. Hembaci. But that's spelt quite nice, it's very nice. It says what it says, Hembaci. Such a powerful word. And once you do get to truly understand the gift behind Hembaci, which is what I'm working on at this moment. I'm actually working on the end of the book, which somehow seems to be the beginning of the book. And when you go through this journey, it seems like there's a back to front journey that goes on. You discover something now, but you kind of discovered it way back then. But for some reason, you just let it slide. It just didn't happen. So understanding the difference between, being my human self, as I simply say, I was just trying to be a man in a man's world, let's call it, trying to survive, trying to become, trying to get, trying to have, trying to be fulfilled in relationships. That's all we want, isn't it? We just want a peaceful life. We just want to get through it in the best way that we possibly can. But when you get to that point where you're struggling with what the human part of your story is telling you, of course, that's where we find ourselves in depression. So I understand the depression side of it all. And to me, really and honestly, it was a lifesaver. It had to happen. And everyone that was playing a part in my story, it had to happen. And so therefore, what we've got is through the eyes of me, and I was having a real good look at it today, and I'm still doing some writing, I'm still putting the book together. And as I said, I'm going to do the end of the book now, and it's all the code. So really, I feel it's going to be a book of answers, right? It's going to be a book of answers, and it's going to be a book of truths. And what you got to do is to try and understand if it's true for you. And so therefore, I'm really getting excited about it now because it's been a long time in the making. There was many different little books that I was putting together thinking that that was going to be the book. But it is about healing. It is about transformation. And the truths that I found at the end of my transformation will stop you from going through 20, 30, 40 years of your life really not understanding who you are, what you are, why you're going through what you wanted to go through. So I wanted to know quite a bit about myself. I wanted to understand myself. And the big question is who am I? Who are we? It seems to be the question. I didn't want to live a life where I couldn't answer that. And this is why you'll always hear me say this. It was like, I didn't want a life that didn't have any meaning. But then when you sort of go through the relationship of life, you're kind of almost looking for meaning, aren't you? You're kind of looking for what's the purpose behind it? And then when you go through depression, you're trying to find meaning. Well, what's the purpose of that? Why did I go through that? Why am I in it? How did this happen? And most importantly, how do I get out of it? And then we got a life of trying to understand, well, what does spirituality mean? And so therefore you're trying to understand yourself, you're trying to heal yourself, you try to awaken, you feel that you've got something to do, you feel like there is a meaning in your life. So quite honestly for me, Bemeism gave me meaning in a life that just didn't seem to have any. And I used to think that just being a human being was the meaning of life. But when I look about it now, and I look at the state of the world and I see where it's going, we got to try and understand this. What's going on is there is major changes that's going on the planet, right? We seem to be losing even more control. And of course you've got AI, and of course you've got transhumanism. For me now, over this last couple of weeks, I've been really delving in and sort of saying to myself, okay, what's my message truly about? I understand it to be healing, awakening the higher self, loving self, finding the gift of self, becoming more aware of self, understanding your emotions. And I was looking at life, and I was looking at it in a way where I can see what's going on with depressed people. I can see what's going on with just normal people. And I can see what's going on with what you would say is the spiritual people, or even religious people. So therefore what we've got is we can only see through the eyes of, can't we? So if you're in pain, life is a pain. If you're confused, then life becomes confusing. And so therefore, when I was going through that transformation within my life, I basically did all the things that I thought I needed to do to make me feel complete, to make me feel whole. And of course, they only seem to last for 5 minutes, really, because that's what jobs do, or careers do, or relationships even do. But when we look at it, we can look at it through the eyes of, let's use it just as a relationship, let's just do the normal girl meets boy, right? And that's all you know, that's what it's all about. But when you understand it on a soul level, this is where you start to become more awakened to the fact that there is something going on other than what we think it is, which is the human programming. And so therefore, what's happening? We are at that precipice where we are getting to know ourselves. We're getting to understand the levels of consciousness. We're starting to understand healing. We're starting to become more aware of basically what's going on. And so therefore, I think this is probably a great era where we're really trying to know who we are, what can we change about ourselves. And many of us have gone through the transformation, wondering what on earth is this transformation all about. So understanding that even depression is a transformation, understanding your relationships is also a depression. Once you get through and you truly understand, it's like, okay, I know what's going on here. I thought I was in control, but it's not. There's something else that's in control here. And once you truly start to see these weird things, and most of you, some of you could be seeing all these weird things that are happening, them weird bits are actually the soul's journey. It's the human side of you that is trying to understand why are the weird bits happening. Okay, let's say hello to everybody. We have ilesley. Let's get to the top. We've got top chat. I think I have to change that to live chat. So let's do that. We've got Zantsu. Hi Zantsu. Eternal bliss. Is our goal to become the ultimate, considering ultimate equals God? I think for my goal, or any of our goal, is that I just wanted to find meaning. I just wanted to transcend beyond my human ways. I wanted to transcend past my emotions, my ego, my controlling ways, my angers, my frustrations. I just wanted to feel that I was a better version of me than what I was given through life. You know, through life you become a certain person because of that's the way life happens. But when I got to the point where I was realizing that it was meant to happen on a soul's level, then it was down to me to interpret what was happening through using the gift of the body, which is the power of healing. So it was trying to understand the feeling. So for me, it's nothing to do with equaling God or anything like that. I think the goal of the soul is truly that. It really means to believe in yourself as the soul rather than the human being. And then once you start communicating with the soul, which is what I did through writing, channeling, psychic medium, and all the spiritual gifts that come along with as you fall away from the human programming, all these gifts get known to you. So you find the God within. I mean, you can go to Greg Braden at this moment and they are scientifically turning around and saying that written in the code of our DNA, it says God eternal within the body. It's written in our cells. So technically there is a God, there is an intelligence that is within. I felt this intelligence, which I call intelligent consciousness, runs through all of our bodies. And once you break away from that human programming and then you start to really focus on the intelligence of who we are, who you are, and then you work out that your human self was stopping you from really truly identifying yourself as a one-off gift. And in that moment of saying, oh my God, you know, there's only one of me, I need to clean this shit up, I can't keep acting this way or keep being this way. So I think the goal of the soul is to truly, you know, love itself as much as it can and to love life in whatever way that seems fit. And them two things, you know, love self, love life, I never ever thought about that before in my human life. I never thought about loving self and then loving life. We're just led to believe that, you know, you can share life with somebody and have loving moments. You can have families and have loving moments. But I think the greatest gift of understanding the God within is to represent ourselves with how incredible the kingdom of God is, or this kingdom of heaven, or whatever you want to say. So I think you find your own God within you. And then once you start to work with that, that is your higher self, and the body starts to respond, then you start to heal away the human self. Because when you look at that human self, even though you believed it to be true, you kind of look at it and think, oh my God, I've been set up. You know, this isn't the meaning of life. This isn't it. Isn't what I thought it would be. And then you look at life and you say, okay, well, this is how far we've got. So who's evolved? And so therefore, for me, I think it's about the soul evolving from your ancestral lineage, because to me that's now what it represents. I am the soul of souls, and I'm in the lineage of my ancestors, and I believe that whatever they got up to, I'm now the forefront of it, so I'm having to bear the brunt of what happened on this journey. And it's so true and it's so real, and that when it was shown to me, I mean, that just blew my mind, that there was completely a different story going on. And it's the story that I think we should all have known in the beginning rather than the human story. So yeah, it's about finding your own God within. It's personal. Finding your own connection to God within, it is personal. You know, when you know how to heal oneself and you get through certain dramas or situation physically, mentally, emotionally and spiritually, you start to master the self. So you start to find that there is a God within you. And so therefore you start to create on a different level. So for me, I would say God is intelligent consciousness who creates. And so therefore, if we have been created by the same substance, the same energy, and we all came from the same place, then once you go beyond that human being again, and you find just the 3 letters of be me, then that's when you start to have an intelligent conversation with oneself. And then you start to feel the energy of how it feels like you've come out of the human programming. And it can almost make you, doesn't make you feel like God, but you can thank God, because it was like a way of sort of saying, my God, I thought I had it right. I thought I was doing things correctly. I thought I was doing okay. And then you don't. And then when you understand the sort of the mind of your own higher self has got a different perception, it's got a different awareness, and so therefore it creates in a completely different way. So God is a creator, so we came here to basically create. And if I look at life, I can see what humans have created, and I didn't want to be part of that mix of being that type of a man that's just being a man, so therefore creating still the same or much of the same as what's going on. So we need a complete change. We need things to be seen in a different way, and I'm so glad that it happened to me. So if everyone discovered their own be me self, which means just come from a different place, a different perception, a different level of compassion, a different level of feeling rather than emotional, then we start to connect with people in a completely different way. And that, to me, I think is the gift. And I think it's the gift of what we came with, and that we basically forgot that. So technically, we just came here to, 1, experience this amazing kingdom, and 2, leave it in a better state than when we got here. To me, that would make sense. So we're doing the work for God, I would say it that way, but not in that religious way. Okay, so we have, let's go back up into questions. Hi, Bad Nurse, Zantsu, weirdos shine your light. They do, weirdos. It's a funny old word, that, isn't it? Weirdo. God, I was weird. It went weird. Life goes weird. And as I said, you'll hear me say it a lot, that weirdness then became normal, and then you realise that that weirdness was something that you're not used to, which is seeing the journey in a more of a truthful way, and so that's weird. And when you start to discover yourself even more so, that's even really weird, because you'll go through many different stories. Doubly, well done, Trev, top chat, live chat, yeah, I've done that one. Okay, Zentsu, so others find you. Right, which master at internal bliss to be a god is to be supreme over others. No, the goal is to be part of the solution and no longer part of the problem. Yeah, that's actually really what I just said there, isn't it? But you've shortened that down. Yeah, it's basically that. You know, whatever this connection that we feel to this word, I see, because of my awakening, I got to a point where language wasn't needed so much. So what we have to do, really, even if we go to that point where we say, okay, God, well, we created that word, didn't we? So we've now got the chicken and the egg. So did God create us, or did we create God? It works both ways, doesn't it? And of course, many people have their different interpretation of what does God mean for them. And we've been so filled with old programming of believing what God is. It's been installed into our energy that there's only one God, and there's only this happening, there's only that happening, and all of these things. But I just got to the point where I thought, I know it's a word that is supposed to sum everything up, but I'd still like to sort of not use that word, because it's still a word that is putting things into boxes, but it's a great word, I suppose, but then is it? Or is it because we made it a great word? So that's another way of looking at it. For me, I've got written on the front of my book here, it's called Kiss God. And basically, when you look at it in the capital letters, it says Kiss God, right? And God for me meant guiding others' direction. So for me, I just felt like there was a spiritual drive, there was a spiritual connection that was driving me to understand myself whilst I was going through a lot of pain. So I could basically turn around and say, well, my God is Hembaci. And the reason why I would say my God is Hembaci, because Hembaci saved my life in all manner of bloody ways, you know. So for me, that's my God. You know, I've written about that, about being my God, and then having to believe in this code of Hembaci, which was kind of within me, and to believe in it and to discover whether or not it worked or not. So for me, the Hembaci, I could say, kind of came from God, and God installed it into me. I could say that Hembaci was something that I came here with, and then I could say I was a channel for it. But when you get to the real crux of everything that's going on, what the big problem is that we've been told we are the lesser being, right? Because there were certain masters, or there were certain people, and they had the divine right and all of these things. And I think even that deep-rooted programming has been installed, and it's still being installed to this very day. But when we go on to a different level now and we start to understand, you know, who is God and what is God and how does that all work, I think we have to get to this point where if we truly kind of look at ourselves on a quantum level, or we look at ourselves on a magnetic level, or an energetic level, and a frequency and a vibration, and we start to understand that there is a completely different connection that goes on between our body, mind and energy. And then supposedly whatever it is that we are thinking or feeling within us, we're now projecting it onto the outer screen. So if that's to be true, then we're kind of God in the making, if you like, because now we're actually creating life. I think the worst thing is, and the sad thing is, I think humans are now believing that they are God. And what I mean by that, when you look at the genetics or the biology of who we are in the evolution of how we've come through, and I don't mean from monkeys and all of that, but just on your family lineage, how much we've kind of evolved. And now if we go into the, you know, it seems like it's a natural selection, that's the word I was looking for. So it's like a natural thing, it's a natural progression that we went through. But now we've got AI, and now we want to go transhumanism. I mean, to me, that's them playing God, which means you're now going to be built in our likeness. So whose likeness is whose, you know? So we've all got different religions and stuff of how we've been installed with the programming. And I think finding your true self, I know it's getting rid of some of these programs, because they just don't work anymore. Everything's gone beyond now. We've superseded everything. You know, when they turn around and say that we are light beings, and everyone used to think, oh my God, what does that actually mean? You know, am I going to turn into this being of light and all of these things? But when you go into the scientific fact of it all now, that you've got, you know, 50 trillion cells, and each one of them cells emits a light of 0.7 watts, and then you times that by the 50 trillion, that's a big light. And apparently the light that is within us is equivalent to 3 billion car batteries. I know, Greg Braden. And I truly do believe him, because the guy does his own work. And it's so fascinating to think that, oh my God, maybe that, you know, back in the day, I don't think it happens now, you know, when people internally combusted, you know, I used to remember seeing pictures that someone, or what was left of someone, was sitting on the toilet, might just be half a leg and the shoes, and that was it. The rest of the body had completely gone, everything, bone and everything. Is that the atomic light that is within us? You know, that this entire system has got so much power. And imagine this, if you use that power on an outwardly perception, then you can do some good. But if you turn that light in on against yourself, then the power of that light is also going to do a lot more damage, because you're now turning that light on in on yourself, and that's where it can be very damaging. Right, so that was it. So which master? So that's a great answer. Yes, that's exactly what it is. Everyone's got their interpretations, and we just allow them to be that interpretation. But I think we're needing a new. I think we're done with carrying life. To me, it's like a bad relationship. You just can't shake off. You just can't get rid of. To me, that's what the human story is beginning to look like. Or has always looked like, really. Zantsu says, "What about sadness deep? Why it keeps popping up during journey?" Sadness. I understand that part of that sadness, and truly it is deep, isn't it? And you look at your own story and you think, my God, was my life really that sad? You know, and I used to think, no, I don't think so. And I suppose I don't think I really grew up with the word of sadness. I don't even think I said it to anyone. I didn't stop someone or speak to the kids and go, "Are you sad?" You know, did I look at myself as being sad or having any kind of sadness? And I think no is the answer. But when I went through again the transformation, oh my God, the sadness was a joke. I couldn't believe it. It was something that had consumed me to the point of the grief, just total and utter grief of, I felt like it was everyone's sadness. I felt like I'd taken on the world's sadness. I couldn't read the newspaper, I'd just start crying. Anything that happened somewhere, whether it was good or bad, I was still crying, you know, because for me, the ultimate, for me in the soul's journey, trying to understand what this sadness was, to me, the essence of the soul was really, truly sad. I think it was very sad in the way that everyone has evolved as beings. I think it's very sad that the way that we are being towards each other, it's very sad in the way that we are with our own selves. I think it's very sad that we're still killing people. I think it's very sad that there's still poverty and there's, you know, people are having a terrible time. It's not good for a lot of people. So I can imagine a lot of people feel a bucket load of what sadness is all about. And I think as a sensitive being, as a soulful being, you start to become truly aware of what's kind of going on. And I think if you really stop and think about it and really sense and feel the energy of it all, I think humanity is grieving. I think it's in a total shock of loss and sadness. Every tragedy that happens, it brings a great sadness, and it may not even be connected to you, but we as human beings are picking up on our surroundings of what's going on. So I think it's right that we do have this deep sadness, and I think our own intelligence is picking up on it. And so therefore, you know, even in depression, you can't really say that's a sadness. You know, depression is almost like a trauma because you just don't know why it's happened and you really don't know how to get out of it. But in that sadness of it, I think for me, my soul just said, wow, this is sad. This is really sad to think that this is how we're living. And I think it's really sad and where the future's going. I think it's really sad that we was truly getting to the point of trying to understand who we are. And then I think it's truly sad that the darkness are trying to change the way that we are biologically and mentally and emotionally and then spirituality, because you'll be running from a machine. You'll be connected to something else. So I think Bemeism for me is really important. To me, it almost feels like it's the last stand before everyone sells their soul to an idea that sounds like it's the best thing to do. And that's being pushed upon us. And I think the true meaning behind the word freedom, I think we was trying to free ourselves from the system anyway. And as we're freeing ourselves and we're growing and we're evolving in consciousness, all of a sudden there's more identities keep popping up. And now we've got another one, which is going to be the transhumanism. And when you really look at it, even if women have, you know, fake boobs or whatever anyone has done, we're already not being that pure human, as Greg Braden talks about it at the moment. You know, we're losing sight of that pure humanness to be able to create, to be able to love, to be able to experience and go through life, understanding that, you know, it's possible there's a soul, there's a, you know, connection to God and all of these things. But I think the human in the future, I think it's definitely a hybrid, because we know it's happening now. So imagine when there's no humans and what the state of the world's going to be in, and what your children are going to be going through, and what their children be going through. And for me, I think the responsibility of all people that have awakened at this specific time over the last 20 years, I think we are the last stand. It seems we are the brick wall between that, and we're saying, no, that's not happening, because you're going to even try and disguise our true self or our meanings and purpose behind life, even much more so. So therefore you disconnect up there, and everyone basically is doing the same thing. So there is no speciality in anyone. There will be no individualism, as to put it, because if everyone's connected to bloody Google, then that makes everyone the same intelligence. But then you've got to ask yourself, is Google telling the truth? That's the difference. Right, so that's a lot to do with the deep sadness. Yeah, we do feel it. And it is sad. That's why I say to people with depression, you can feel depressed, right? And, I looked at it and sort of thought, God, I'm really depressed. Oh, now I hate myself for being depressed. But when I really got to the point, and I've said it before, but, ask yourself, are you actually depressed with you? Or could your soul be actually depressed with life, and looking at it and think, my God, this is depressing? And in some sense, it kind of truly is, especially when you grow, because you kind of almost know that there should be something different. But what should be different is people's attitudes, or people's understanding of relationships, a greater level of understanding the potential and the possibilities of what they can achieve on this planet. They are the gift. They are living the gift. They're breathing the gift. And I think that's where humanity is kind of losing itself in believing that we have to become more, whereas in fact that we was already more in the first place. The human programmers broke us down, so now they'll say transhuman will fix you, but it's not really fixing you. It's just putting something in you that's even going to make you more despondent. And as they say, if you don't use it, you lose it. So I believe this. I think whatever gets implanted into the body, I think the natural resources of the human body will say, what the fuck is that? Let's attack it. So I think we're heading for a real bad time. So let's just do the best that we can at this moment in time and hold on to your own insanity. Hypnicity, hi. I like the Zen ways of observing without judgment. Yeah, very ancient, very amazing way of seeing ways. But there's lots of things there, and I think if you go back to the originality of it all, and, I'm not sure what they would have been observing back in the day, considering what we observe in our day. It's like when you look at, Kung Fu, and you look at the martial arts, that was a study of insects. That's where it all came from. Back in the day, they had time to sit there and study the grasshopper and the crane and the monkey and all of these things. And of course, what come from that was fighting techniques, because they used to watch how these animals used to interact with other animals. So Zen is just a way of seeing things in that sort of way. It's like, it's a cat and mouse with Zen, isn't it? It's kind of there, but you don't see it's there. It's got that twist to it. So in the end, there's kind of a nothingness to it. It's only got an identity because we put it to there. But whatever way it is, mine is just called Be Me now. So trying to learn Zen, I think, is a big one. But yeah, I love the word Zen as well. I think it's lovely. If I had a boy, I was going to call him Zen. Bad nurse. I feel that quite often. That could be the sadness bit, I believe. Hypnicity, everything seems to be okay. No tsunami warnings, thanks. Okay. Hypnicity, so I'm awake from the dark night. Now what? Maybe it's time to breathe. Right, so I'm awake from the dark night. Now what? I do not know what any of them symbols mean, other than the question mark and the peace, man, and a love, and is that an inquisitive face, and what's all these stars? Maybe just time to breathe. Well, it is your currency. That is your time. Breath is very important. So yeah, maybe it's time to breathe. If you got through the dark night of the soul, then surely you know everything about yourself now. So is the next step about understanding what's the next part of your self, beginning in the right direction that you want to go. Mine was to be doing this, you know, I didn't sort of go back to that. So it's like anything, once you become the butterfly, what do? Well, you have to do things differently, but you're the creator of your life. So let's go create. Hypnicity, all yellow, I don't know what they are. Imogen, welcome. We create our lives. I'm making my life meaningful. Don't look for others to tell you what's the meaning of your life. God in me is creating myself now as a healer. Absolutely. We do create our own lives in some sense. Well, that's a big one, isn't it? Because, right, we create our lives. Well, you do once you get to that point that you know that you're creating your lives. But in that human self of it all, no, everyone else was creating it for you. And everyone that played a part in that life was also creating your life. The system creates your life. The belief system as well creates your life. Everything is creating our lives. But when we break out of that, then that's when you find, you know, making your life more meaningful. And that to me was the Be Me. So once I started to understand the Be Me, then I started to understand that I'm creating life and not letting others create it for me. And that was a big difference. So don't look for others to tell you what's the meaning of life. No, I gave that up a long, long time ago. And again, that was Bemeism, because Bemeism for me was about truly believing in oneself rather than believing in what everyone else out there was saying. It was time for me to bring it home and to believe in myself and to believe in my story. And what is the meaning of life? Well, I am the meaning of life. And it's down to me to give meaning to life. And the code of Be Me and my self-religion of Bemeism just saw the meaning of life. And that was it. As Hypnicity says there, that's when I started to breathe. And when you start to breathe, that's the full chakra point. That becomes the artist. And the artist is Heartist. So I used to be an artist, A-R-T. Now it's H-E-R-T, which one was just creativity, but this one is creativity from the heart. And that is supposed to be the truth behind who we are, being able to create from the heart. Don't look for others to tell you, yes. The God in me is creating yourself now as a healer. Yeah, God in you is healing you. And you get to the point, as I say, what you hear me say, healing from what? And I just say, do you know what? The whole human programming. Because I wrote about so many different parts of the human story, trying to understand what healing meant. And because you have 40 years at the time in my transformation, you have 40 years of this story and you think, oh my God, you know, how am I going to heal all of this? Anyway, I managed to go through as much of it as I possibly can. And that's why I'm writing the Book of Answers. It's kind of there, just needs to be put into order. And, you know, it was like every part of awakening just took a long time. And I needed to get to the truth of it. So I just needed an answer. And so therefore what I do is try and give you the answer, and then it's down to you to sort of try and work out and sort of say, okay, does that work? I believe that's what Buddha done. You know, back in the day, back in the ancient days of it all, Buddha took his students, gave them everything that he had and said, I don't need to see you again. Just go off and do and learn and experience what I've told you to be the truth. Go and find out for yourself. So again, you came here to find out for yourself. And if you look at yourself as a reporter, to being here, and I'm a journalist, I'm just trying to find out what's going on down here, because I'm going to go back and tell God about this stuff, because this is not good. You know, I used to kind of think like that in a very humorous way. But now when I sort of look at it, I think it's quite a serious way, really, because we're writing our own story, we're writing our own book. We've got to be careful of what we're being consumed with that's trying to write our book. But when you get to understanding, you know, the Beame book, your story, then you start to understand, oh my God, you know, the soul that, you know, is connected to something greater. That's how I see it. The soul is connected to something greater, which we would call God. It's connected to intelligence. Science will also completely tell us that our body is an antenna. So every cell and every atom in our body is communicating to something. We think we're in control, when in fact, we are not in control, because we couldn't even control our emotional reactions as a human being. So, yeah, God in you is trying to stop you from being you so that you can be you. That's a mouthful. All right, hi, Ellie Wynn. Hi, Ellie Wynn. Oh, I'm jumping. It's all jumping. Right. Hi, Trev. Right, that's Harry. Come back to you. We have lost our community. Right, go back. Oh, right, go back. This jumps all over the place, and I hate saying this live on TV. Right, Imogen. It's because I don't seem to have a slide bar, you know, to slide the thing up. I'm using a mouse, and then when you press too hard on the mouse, oh, there's a sidebar. Oh, I can't get to it when it moves. Right, okay. No, it disappears as soon as I move. Right, so, problems with this. Get back to pencil and paper and a carrier pigeon. That's how you speak to God. Yes, we want to be healers. You could never get me to say that word, healer, but I tell you, I think it's the greatest of words, and I think it's really needed. Ailey Wynn, hi bees, me's, hi bee me's, much love, very sad too. Okay, so it seems to be some sadness going on. Bad nurse. Hi, Mojan. Right, so everyone, I am that I am. What you see is what you get. Wrinkles, extra pounds, and white hair. Okay, brilliant. That is it. That's what it is. That's what you are. That's what you've got. So well done, you. Eternal bliss. Pure human is still an attachment. Aren't souls strong enough to function even if the human isn't as pure in that sense? No, because you'll still be functioning from the human. Because, you know, what's pure is look at every conceivable thing on the planet except the human being. Let's just push them over to one side. Everything that is on the planet, up there, in the middle bit, on this bit, and below this bit, basically is being pure in itself, isn't it? It's just doing. It's doing a job. It's doing a thing. It's doing something that's more creative and more intelligent than we ever will care to mention. So there's a pureness in that. But in the pure human, it's just about understanding the difference within yourself. And if one can transform just oneself, it enables someone else to transform someone else. I mean, pure is a strong word, but it's better to have that sort of word and to work towards that word rather than being intoxicated by a poison that has just got you to believe that it's nothing. Your life is just human. Get over it. You know, the strongest will survive, the fittest, and all of that stuff. Whereas really, all souls are here to sort of function, even if the human isn't as pure in that sense. Yeah, even in the dark night of the soul, it does get to that point where it will step back and go, oh shit, you know. So the soul will go through a lot of cleansing to sort of think, God, I thought I was doing things in the right way, and now I've got to transform and go this way and be the best I can. And that's where we start to see it. As long as you've got a certain degree or energy or a gauge from where you've come from to who you are now, but when you understand that and get that person out, what comes in its purest form is the energy healing. That to me was a pure form. And in that pure form, that was a moment for me when I connected with something that was beyond me, but there wasn't me in the process blocking it. And so therefore, there is a pure energy, and everything runs on that pure energy. It's just that we don't. So Bemeism is just a structure that gets you through to understand yourself more than what you've been told, to find the true self, feel the true self and be the true self, start healing the self, start loving the self, and then life starts to change because you've got a completely different perception. Eternal bliss, I mean, life grows anywhere given the opportunity, and there'll still be more of it. Yep, okay, that's true. Hypnicity, isn't depression basically anger turned inward? What happens if we simply let go of our anger? Have you tried? Because that's it. No, I'm not going to say isn't depression basically anger turned inwards? No, depression compresses a lot of things for a lot of people. For me, my depression was technically the awakening of the soul, where it got so depressed as being a human being, it went, that's got to go, we can't do this shit anymore. And so therefore, you know, was it just purely anger that did that? No, anger for me was something that needed to be healed, because that's what was creating the illness in my body. You know, that was changing my DNA, it was affecting my immune system. So anger was the form of what I would say is my duodenal ulcers and my cancer that I had. That's what that was. So when I cured the anger in me, my God, that's only just a human emotion. That's just an ability that you've adapted, and you've videoed it from somewhere that says, okay, this is how I act because that's how everyone else acts. And when you get to the point where you go, God, this anger just isn't working, it's actually killing me. And when you get angry, I mean, there's anger, and I used to get so angry, I nearly broke my own jaw through clenching my own teeth. Put it that way. And I felt like I was so angry, I would just break all my teeth because of the pressure of the jaw, and it's just awful, just awful. There's a lot of people that are angry out there. I mean, if you can solve anger, I mean, we're halfway there, we're on a winner. Because that's where the anger comes up and balance my ego and balance my emotions. And as what my mates will always say, it's impossible. I go, well, it kind of does feel like that, but I did get through that. Zensu says, did you have a phase where you just didn't care or were exhausted at everything and it made everything feel ridiculous? Did I have a phase where I just didn't care about who or what? Didn't care. Or were exhausted. I was exhausted a lot at everything, and it made everything feel ridiculous. So right, okay, so you've got three big questions there that's going on. Exhaustion and everything looking ridiculous. I mean, in the awakening, when you really truly start to see yourself as this eternal spirit that you're going to become, you will look at your life and sort of go, my God, that's ridiculous. You know, whatever I've said, whatever I did, whatever I thought I was doing, or when I look at it now, I think it was so ridiculous. So there's that side to it, or maybe it's that. But you can look at life and, you know, you can have a look at it and say, what's ridiculous? Well, it's a bit of a joke, really. It's all a bit ridiculous. It's all a bit, what's it doing? It's war. Go for war. It's a bit ridiculous, really, isn't it? So that's a big old word there, ridiculous. Yeah, all a bit ridiculous. And be exhausted. Well, just didn't care. Not sure about that bit where you just don't care. I think I've always cared. I think that was probably my problem somewhere. I think I did care, and I think I do care. And I think that's why I do what I do, more so because I do care. But I think on hindsight of it all, there is a point in the journey where you do, oh God, don't care. Let me just think about what my brain wants to bring forward into what don't I care about. I think the worst thing was when you get to the point of your own life and you just really don't care. You know, that's that point of depression and suicidal thoughts and, you know, sort of ending it sort of moment. It's a moment where I just, do you know what, I don't care. I don't care anymore. Or you can get to a point where you don't want to listen to people's problems anymore. you don't care that there's something there that's going on. Do you know what? I don't care anymore. Kill each other if that's what you want to do. I just don't care. But then we spend a lot of our times going through lives when the word care is a beautiful word, isn't it, really? We all need caring for. But who really did care? And it's funny you should bring that up. And I don't know if anyone else has been really looking at that word recently, because it came up for me as well. And it's like, oh, you know, this word of caring. Who cares about anything? And as I said, the worst thing I discovered was I wasn't caring for myself. So Bemeism and healing really is the moment when it's like, God, I need to take care of myself. So you need to be your own physician. You need to be your own lover. You need to be your own advisor. And you need to be your own spirit guide, really, because that means you care. So Bemeism really is about caring in a world that doesn't truly really care. And what I notice a lot of about people and about anything really is whatever you say or whatever you're doing, people don't care. They just don't care. Do your parents care? I don't know. Maybe they do. A lot don't. I know a lot that don't, you know. Caring is such a beautiful word. Beautiful, beautiful. Right, bad nurse. We have lost our community. We have lost the community. Whatever that community was. Or maybe you're talking about another community. But community, I mean, yeah, it's all gone. There is none. Back to the ancients, it was all about community. That's what I used to love about being in a foreign country. I'd noticed, especially when I lived out in Cyprus, I noticed there was a community there. And I loved it. I loved it when they brought me in as part of that community. They brought me in as one of them, and I really felt at home. Never had that before. So Cyprus was really good for that. It made me feel like I was part of a community. It made me feel like I was part of a family. And that was a bonus for me, because I never felt like I had that here in the UK. Harry. Hi, Trev. Hi, Harry. I think we're living at a time where dark spirits and dark energy are very powerful at the moment. They've always been really powerful. Very powerful, in fact. It's always been. It's representing yourself as it. In the awakening, I you know, in hairdressing, you don't talk about dark energy, and you don't talk about dark matter, and you don't talk about dark spirits. That line of language doesn't work. But when I experienced dark spirits and dark energy, one of the things I had to understand was my own dark spirit, or the connections to my dark spirit, and I had to understand my own dark energy as well, as because, you know, dark energy is definitely going to deplete us. And a lot of it is to do, again, it's a lot to do with programming, because darkness comes from a lack of information. And when there's a lack of information about oneself, we're in the dark. And that's what humanity is. It's in the dark of what truly, who they are. You know, we're in the dark with that. So understanding dark energy, when I was growing as well, and then I started to experience dark spirits, I thought, shit, you know, I didn't read this from a book. This is stuff that happened to me. It's like I can only represent it being as dark spirits. Other than that, I would never have spoken about it again. So dark spirits and dark energy has always been there. You can see it throughout humanity. And of course, when that dark spirit leaves here, where's it go? Well, it goes into dark energy and dark spirit on the other side. So for me, it was a case of like, well, I needed to get rid of darkness. And to sum it all up again, what was darkness for me was the entire human programming. To me, that was darkney. We're going to call it darkney now. That was dark energy and dark spirits that were trying to stop me. So even the dark spirits alive are doing the very same thing on the bigger picture. If you go to Armageddon size, then we've got people in power that are working on the dark side. What does that mean? It means they want to be in control of us. And we're supposed to be working for them, and then they go and do what they want to do with the money that they've collected. And when they want more, we have to do more. And so therefore, you know, we're still in that slave mind that's what we're doing. So even our own darkened spirit has got caught in dark energy. It's a This is why love is so important. This is why Bemeism becomes so important. Love self, love life. Because dark spirit attaches to your own darkness. It knows everything about you. And it's what you would call is the voice of destruction. I believe it's the voice that makes people take their lives or do murders or decide to drive a car through a marketplace full of people. I mean, it's darkness all the way. It's all dark. There's so much darkness on here. You can see it. It's everywhere. I just started watching that too. Right, what are you watching? I see people being kept in constant trauma. People in trauma is dark energy. It is that. You know, trauma's, you know, everyone's got their idea about what it was traumatic. You know, when you sort of think about it, going to school, leaving your mum at that particular time as, you know, put a rucksack on your back and off you trot and looking like a little 3-foot man from London Bank or something like that with a suit and a tie on and all of this stuff. I mean, it's darkness all the way, isn't it? It's just what we're doing. Ellie Wynn says, I cry every day, tears heal, all organic, all natural me. Thank you for being you. My cat is passing away as we are here now. He feels you. He feels you. He hears you. His name is Bindi. Oh, hi to Bindi. And okay, there's a lot there that's going on for you there. Your cat is passing away. Someone else on the air also will understand that very thing that you're going through, and you know who I'm speaking about, so you might get a little message in a minute. It's very hard, very difficult to lose anything. But as I said to the friend of mine that also had the same thing, I said there wasn't a better person that they could be with at that moment in time of the passing. I think, you know, for me, I think that's correct. You were chosen. Daisy Q, Trevor, I've had an interesting experience some time ago while being asleep. I began to feel a deep sense of love. So much so, it felt like it was going to burst my heart. It woke me up. It woke me up. The feeling persisted. Brilliant. So again, you've been touched by a presence, which is your presence. And of course, see, now you've had that experience, you're going to be wanting some more, aren't you, really? Because that's what it is. But the way that I would see that, that was when you was asleep, wasn't you? Interesting experience. I go, whilst being asleep, right? Yeah. So much can happen in your sleep. But that's brilliant what you've had there. That to me was a sense of freedom. So your soul at that moment in time sensed the freedom from being released from the prison. That was the light being released. And that's the sense of love. You've got to go with this sense of love that deep rooted in each and every one of us, we've been searching for it because we know it's there, right? And I do. And I think we've all been trying to search for it in a relationship. And of course, you kind of really don't really in a strange way. It's beyond all of that. So that is for you. That's a personal journey for you. And that is fantastic. Now it says it woke me up and the feeling persisted. So you're still good? You're still good with that? So remember that that is a great feeling, and then anything below that just isn't really worth it. But you've got to be really careful now because you've experienced that, and then anything below that is going to make you feel like that you've not got that feeling back. Just look at it as the experience, thank you very much, say, and then realise that that can be the energy that you want to be leaving this planet from. And that, to me, I feel is that's the sense of relief, that's the sense of love. And I think that love will come in a succession of understanding that your success in life was to become a better you. And that is your guide giving you that, saying, this is the ultimate feeling. And you've had the ultimate feeling. So that's yours. So well done. Right, we have Bindi likes Trevor's. Oh, well, Lou, you know what I'm doing now, don't you? Bindi said something there. Right, let's go back up. I did, always lovely being here. Right, Trevor had an interesting experience. Right, okay, we're back on. I'll try to answer these as much as I can. Bindi likes Trevor's voice. Thank you. Sending all the healing. Let's just wish Wish Bindi the peace. Bring a lot of love, pets, but you give a lot of love too. Hi everyone, it's always lovely being here with you all, and that's from Daisy Q. Right, Ellie Wynn, right, Daisy Q, sending you love, blessings, Ellie Wynn. Right, okay. Ellie Wynn, yeah, lost my dog 15th, yeah, double E. That's where I was going. Pets are so precious. I understand what you're going through. Yeah, that's it. See, once somebody understands what you're going through, see, that's where you have a heart. And when you turn an experience or knowledge into the wisdom of, which is the love of, you understand people. You understand what they're going through, and it's a massive grieving for a lot of people. Dowie, hiya. Hi everyone, great to see you. Oh, the change that in settings if you are using a Mac in preference in Safari. Oh, right, what's that? Right, great to see you. Oh, you changed that in settings if you are using a Mac in preference in Safari. I've lost point of my what the question was. Yeah, I'm getting used to all of this. It's all different for me. Right, bring that back into me if you can. Let me have the whole question. This morning I felt about the old programming in the moment and told myself in a compassionate way, I don't need to do this anymore, in a loving way, and be like, let's create from a different place. Yeah, from a different perspective. When you change the perspective of something, then you can change it in a different way. For instance, if I was seeing life through the eyes of the human, that was how I saw life in that way. When I started to understand the be me in me, I started to see life in the form of the be me, and that was the different, and that's the form of creativity. You're creating in a completely different way. Compassion is the big one. Buddhism, when you go to Buddhism, that's totally their bag, isn't it? Their answer to it all from way back is always been about compassion. Compassion is a form of love, isn't it? So again, compassion is about a different understanding, a certain feeling. But if you want to talk to the field, and you want to talk to the field without the use of words, then it's the feeling and the energy of compassion, whatever compassion means for them and whatever it does mean for you. I mean, let's face it, here in the West, it's kind of a word we don't grow up with. We don't grow up with it, do we? Never. I don't think I've ever heard anyone in my history of life or upbringing in life did we ever use that compassionate way. So it's kind of a word that resonates in a certain way. To have compassion, that is fully being in the heart. That is, I don't need to do this anymore. Yeah, you don't need to do any of it anymore. It's really a transformation of self where you say, oh, do you know what, I'm sick of this, I don't need to do this anymore. And that's when you start to change the way that you think about everything, because there's only thinking and feeling. That's all there is. There isn't anything else. Life is about what you think, and life is about what you feel. And it's just two things, two words, but it creates your spacesuit. That's what it's about. Eternal bliss. Thank you, Trevor. You did clear my perspective on purity and human as the last stand. What we experience now, how we function is beautiful, and it will change. It will change. They're making the changes. This is the thing, see? And as I said, I think that's what the big awakening was. We got a call in, and we took on that calling. We followed that calling, not knowing where it was going. But now when I look at life and I think, oh my God, my children's children, totally up for not a good trip, you know. So the future of my generation is, I can already see it's already kind of broken where it is now. So it's heading towards another pit of absolute devastation, completely losing who they are. So I think we are Custer's last stand, if you like, in a funny, strange way. And I think that's what Armageddon was. And that truly was the beginning of my message. You know, this is about Armageddon. I used to think, I don't even know how to spell it. I still don't know how to spell it. Eternal bliss. Question. Is anger always or mostly responsible for creating illness, especially cancer? I have someone very close who is suffering with cancer currently. He often argues rationally. I can't say what is for anyone or everyone, really. But I think scientifically proven fact now. I think I think they are totally agreeing. When you go to people like Joe Dispenza and Bruce Lipton and people like that who truly worked in them industries of truly knowing the body inside out and then transcended beyond that, then they will turn around and say, oh yeah, at the end of the day, thoughts and feelings are creating the illness. I know it myself. That's why I say get rid of the human. It's killing you. Because the reason why we get angry on a lot of things is because we're out of control or something. And, well, we're out of control. So therefore, the emotional responses that we get, I mean, they're copycatted from somebody else. You know, if you come from an angry household, then I guarantee you the kids are going to be angry. I've seen it now. I see it everywhere. And so therefore they become angry. They don't know why they're angry, but that's been put into them. And then I'll watch them go through their illnesses. My own illnesses, from everything from even jealousy. Jealousy is a form of anger. Jealousy is a form of something you might feel that you're going to lose that you love. You know, so there's a form of jealousy towards that. Driving yourself mentally crazy, that makes you ill. Stress, look at the word stress. Something might happen, it might be just simple. You might get an electric bill that you can't afford. You know, you think, oh my God, how much? I can't afford that. And then immediately you're starting to change the chemicals in your body, and you know that can set off IBS. You'd be sitting on the toilet all day because it's like, am I going to do this? So much stress, see. So stress and all of these things. I think for me, I think getting rid of anger was just the winner. And if there was such a thing as a spiritual transformation, that's all I needed to do, just for me to feel all right, then it was just definitely anger, because mine was explosive and it was quick, and it was like, it was, yeah, not good. And I hated it, and I hated the way that I was. And so for me, cancer, and then when I looked at all of my problems internally, especially within the stomach, anger just produces a totally different chemical that just, you really are beating yourself up. And so I learned not to beat myself up, and I cured a lot of things just purely because of that. So anger is when you're getting touched by experiences that you've kind of had before, and you can get angry as you get older to a point, because it's anger being put up on top of anger, put up on top of anger, and more anger and more anger. So there's many different ways of being able to see something, and it's a word, but it's a word to a response. And that's how we play out that response, very angrily. And then people go, well, I didn't mean to say that. And I, well, no, you did actually. No, but I said it in anger. Oh no, I punched you in the face in anger. You know, oh, I killed somebody in anger. That I run you over in anger. You know, it's awful. It's carnal. And when you look at it on a soul level and your spirit, from your spirit's point of level, it's very childish. But you'll get to know, you get to understand that. For me, I thought anger was about me being in control. Very out of control. Very childish. Your shadow, yeah. Okay, oh, okay. Thank you, Trevor. You did come up. Right, okay. Eternal bliss, Christian's angles. Right, got that one. I think, yeah, I think we are a lot to do with all of our illnesses. And you know what the strange thing is? That's why a placebo seems to clear it up, because you believe it's doing something. I didn't believe I could be a healer. Well, the human in me didn't believe he was going to be a healer, and the human in me didn't think he was going to get healed. But the me, the soul, totally knew that it could. Right, so, okay, we'll do the last 20 minutes. So, you know, let's get your questions in now. It's been a great chat tonight. Kind of missed it in a way. I've been doing some other things, keeping myself busy, still transforming myself. Right, Dowie, I do have the feeling, for me, it is where I give power to and a choice in that. The energy I want to focus on as well. This time feels quite a bit like a mirror to me at the moment. Yeah, there are some changes at this moment that's going on. I think you should be in this place now where it's like you're getting some more aha moments. It's like working on yourself, and it's like, oh, right, okay, I'll get that now. There's going to be a lot of that that's going on, I feel, this month. Right, Ellie Wynn, thank you. Ollie-Ann, hi, Ollie-Ann, welcome to the show. Oh, I'm called Trevor tonight. Look at that, I've got a Y on the end now. Trevor. That's very nice, isn't it? Annie. So we've got Annie and Trevor. Hi, Ollie-Ann, welcome, just got on. Oh, okay, brilliant. Hi, Ollie from Bad Nurse. James Atkinson. Hey, Trevor. Hi, James. I don't think we've had the communication before, so welcome to the show. Right, okay, so we've got any questions, Holly? Hey, Trevor, Jackson. Right, we're getting to the bottom here. Bad Nurse. My grandfather was a healer too. Fantastic. See, and back in the day then, see, that would have been very hard as well, you know. When it's a very hard word, healer and healing, because a lot of people don't really quite understand what does need healing, or what can we heal, and is anything worth healing? You know, it's a big one, isn't it? Do we do miracles? Is miracles natural? Have we all got healing abilities? But to me, I think when you look at the whole system of the body, it's naturally got its own healing capabilities, and we just destroy it by getting in the way. To me, that was the biggest destroyer of my own journey. Me. So me had to die to release and discover another me. And it wasn't the human me programming. It completely emptied out. And I was left with me being me to begin again. And that's it. Ollie-Ann says, do you think about the question? Did you think about the question? Did you think about the question? Oh, what the question that I put, what, the soul's journey? Bring that back into me, please. Did you think about the question? Sarah or Sarah? All depends if you're in America or England. It's Sarah in England. It could be Sarah if you're American. Hey, Trevor. I notice you don't speak much about spiritual literature or beliefs based on spiritual training, because I've never read any. It's a simple answer. No, I don't. I don't. No, I don't. I don't, because I can't, because I don't know nothing about it. I only know what I know. And I'm glad I've never really read any spiritual literature, because I think it would influence what I was gaining. You never hear me quote. You never hear me say anything about really anything other than I just want to become a better me, really. I just want to understand depression, the dark night of the soul, my mind, my emotion. I want to get to know my soul. I want to love who I am. And I discovered a gift that was hidden within me, and I speak that. And to me, I think that was the great thing. But no, I don't speak much about spiritual literature. I can't really read. I got kicked out of school for not reading at 14, might have been 13. No, I never read. I kind of, I was a bit disappointed about that. And I've never read a book. But funny enough, I actually read a book about 4 days ago. And I said to myself, I'm going to read this book because I don't know how books read. And so therefore I'm writing a book and I get stuck with, yeah, but how's a book supposed to read? See, I talk in the way that I speak and talk, and I probably write in the same way that I speak and talk. But grammarly, or whatever the word is, spelt correctly or any of that stuff is beyond me. It just doesn't work for me at all. It just doesn't work. But I wish I did. I don't know where full stops go. I don't know where commas go. I have no idea. But when I do finish the book, it will have written by a dyslexic person that's never read a book in his life. And I'm so glad. But yeah, for me, Be Me is about reading your own scripture. Be Me scriptures. Be Me was reading my own story. And Be Me was about discovering who I am, what's my gifts, can I heal, Will I get to the kingdom of heaven? Is there a kingdom of heaven? The kingdom of heaven within? You know, someone said to me the other day when I was speaking to them, they said, "Trev, sum it up. What's the thing of what all you think this journey was?" And I just went. He said, "Well, what do you think spirituality is?" And I just went, "Wellness." And the reason why I say wellness is because I was ill, and when I was ill, I was seeking an answer to my pain of why am I so ill. And so therefore that began the journey of trying to understand the difference between being a human, which is unwell, it's not healed at all because it doesn't even think about it, to then going into the darkness of the dark night of the soul and really not being well, and then finding a cure to that, and then coming out and starting to feel well, and then walk through my journey feeling a lot bloody better than the rest of the journey that I've just had in the first 2 chapters. So the third part is important because when you awaken, that's when you begin life, so it's not the ending of a life, it's actually an ending of a chapter of the programming of the human being, so that you can now be fully conscious in your life and filling your kingdom up with the words and the light of how you want to treat yourself, how you think you can create in life, and then you spend your life heading towards that way, which I call the future, being totally conscious and aware and self-loving and truly believing in self, that you are so much more than what the world has told you to be and become and have. That's the difference. And it's not about having things, it's about being. I think being is such a beautiful thing in a way that we've been taught to do things all the time, do things to get a pat on the back or get rewarded somehow. But the dark night of the soul taught me that when everything disappeared, there was no doing. There was only undoing, and there was only becoming, and there was only being, and there was also a battle in there. So it was a battle to becoming, and then from becoming, it went into being. So transformation, does that make sense? Battling, becoming, and then being. Eternal bliss, I think this authenticity is what pulls me towards Hembaci. You seek out just as how I like to. Yeah, I mean, it's all authenticity. When you become a creator of something, or you want to be an artist, or you want to literally just be you, really. I think the idea behind it all is that we're so special. We're so incredible, really, but we've just fitted in, just like others. And for me, I went for gold and looked at the word human and said, has anyone actually questioned the very fact of are we human? And when it came into my energy field, it's like, whoa, that's a dangerous one, that is. That's a big one. But I think for me, I think that was the biggest lie. I think the biggest lie that I felt within my body, and that's the deep sadness, by the way, that was spoken about earlier on. There was something that needed to be healed. And even though I healed a lot of things, there was still that something. And that last something to fall away was the human being. So when I saw that and I understood it and I worked with it and I found the wisdom in it, and I looked at it and thought, well, is that true? And then the body responds, and then you work with that and sort of saying, okay, well, I look at Bemeism. It makes perfect sense that for me to be me and for me to believe in myself is such a great gift, because your God would want you to do that, right? Your God would want you to truly believe in yourself. He wants everything right for you, right? But the problem we have is that you don't. Nobody does. Then that's the big problem. I didn't. I believed in my hairdressing and my job and my work and things like that. But I never believed myself as anything more beyond the human being and what it was capable of doing. This was your life. It was shit. Get over it. Carry on and gather up some more shit. To me, that's what it kind of seems like. But when you start to awaken, it's personal. It's an absolutely personal story. What I love about Bemeism is it gives you a structure. It's just the basic structure to grow from and to grow into. Because other than human, there's no other identity, is there really? Well, there's loads underneath human, but, you know, what's above that? And so therefore, you know, when I questioned, was this the right way for me? Am I truly that? And then it was no. And it was like, oh, wow, this is it then. So I teach Beame because I realised that human, I would have been dead if I still stayed a human. Really and honestly. I was writing again about it today, you know, and my mind convinced me it was a real good idea to do that. And it won't take long. It'll all be over. So pleasantly and calmly said, I must tell you. Right, okay. I sometimes wonder, can thinking and consciousness be a form of clairaudience? Clairaudience is clear hearing. Clear hearing, clairaudience. When you look at, is that what you mean? Is that supposed to be clairaudience, as in French for clear hearing, like clairvoyance, clairsentience, clairelient? There's a clairelient as well for people that don't know, which is smelling. When you smell something from spirit, I think that's a form of clairaudience. Clairaudience, yeah, it's listening. Thinking and consciousness really are two. It kind of says the same thing, but it's not the same thing. We think, of course, we're awake, so there's a consciousness behind it. There's a set of rules, there's a set of programs in that level of consciousness. But you're probably thinking in the levels of consciousness how most people generate their thoughts about themselves using consciousness. You become conscious to the fact of something. But apparently, scientifically proven fact, we're actually 95% working subconsciously, which means we're asleep. And we get 5 minutes of being conscious. That's the truth of it. And when you really look at it, it's a real big one. So become conscious. Conscious, I always say consciousness. I'd have to dig the man up or the woman that brought up the word in the first place that said that, well, that's consciousness. But for me, consciousness goes beyond. I like to just have a visual. Let me give you a visual of what I think that one consciousness is for me. And I love to see it. It's just that little thin blue line that goes around the planet, that lovely bit of space of protection that protects anything from hitting us and all of that. And I think anything from that blue line, that's human. So for me, if I want to connect into a consciousness, and I've done it many times in a meditation, I just sit there in that sort of thin blue line. I don't want to see you lot there, by the way. I just sit there in that thin blue line because I feel that that was a form of where most information kind of comes from, and it affects the rest of us. So there is a consciousness, there is a one consciousness, and that one consciousness has done everything, and everything on the planet uses that one consciousness. It's just us as a human being doesn't connect into that consciousness because we've been severed. Take a breath, Trev. So we've been severed from that consciousness only to think like the mind of a human that is connected to just a job and life, and we're a kind of slave into that. But the true connection and the true consciousness to it all, your cells, your atoms and your DNA is still connecting into that. It still operates on that. Again, we are the mountain that is in the way. Right, okay. Brilliant. So, yeah, clairaudience, clear seeing, clear. Who used to say this when, you know, people say, oh, Trevor, you're a clairvoyant. Well, clairvoyance is French for a start, and it sounds very sexy, doesn't it? But so French use these words every day: clear hearing, clear seeing, clear feeling, especially when you go to the optician. So it's sexy in a way to become a clairvoyant. It's to be able to see things clearly. And I think the emotional side of us do not see things clearly. We're not taught to be able to see things clearly. The Beame process for me got me to see things a lot more clearer than I ever did in that human story. I never saw anything clearly in the human story. I didn't. Shoot, I'm late. Hi, Charlie. Better late than sorry. Better late than never. You're not late. You're just here, just in time. Sarah, thank you for that response. lets me know there's not a specific way. There's a path for everyone. Yeah, there's not a specific way. I believe everyone's got their way. I believe that there is a way, and I believe that we can find a way. Bemeism for me helped me to find that way. And it got me to realise as well, and be careful, how many of you, I wished I chose that now rather than doing this, or you say, oh, I wished I went with that partner rather than going through this one, or I wished I took that job instead of doing this job. And if you've not noticed the magic of life, when you're desperate for a job and you go for this job and you say, oh, you know, you've got this job, and then all of a sudden someone else says, oh, there's a job here, and then someone else might say, oh, there's a job here, and you go, oh, right, I'll go and have an interview with this, and I'll have an interview with this one, and then you get to this point where you go, shit, I don't know what one to choose now. That happened to me a lot. I thought, wow, can it just be the one, and I just do the one? Why do you keep throwing options at me when a little while ago I had no options? The universe plays, a spirit plays with us in very funny ways. So there's no specific way. You find your way. That means, and you make it your truth. This is my way. There's a song about that, isn't there? Frank Sinatra, I did it my way. Maybe someone sang it before him, I don't know. But it is truly that. I did it my way. Because when you stop and think about it, we're always doing it someone else's way. Take it on a bigger level, that's doing it in the human way. And the part of me went, fuck that. I've got to do this my way, otherwise this human stuff is not working for me. And I'm not saying mine was bad. I really enjoyed being a human. Trust me, I did. I loved it. I loved being me. I just didn't like it when it all just went down the pan, and that's truly when I didn't like. Right, shoot, I'm late. Right, thanks for that response. Charlie, bad nurse. Right, we've got Indigo 11 or 11. I said 3 triple 11s there. 1111. 11 equals 4. Yes, we can only truly go from our own experience whilst being balanced in skepticism and open-mindedness with all the other belief systems and ideologies. Yeah, find your own. It's not to say that anyone's got the truth. This is the sadness about it all. And because we're still working in the past of everything, you know, I don't think we're truly properly evolving because we're still harbouring on the past. I think the past has really got hold of us. I think it needs to be shut off. I think there's only one cue. You've got to stop being a human being. I think everyone needs to stop being a human being because it's there's no respect for it. There's no appreciation for it. And that's the thing, you know. So people don't like who they are and they don't like other people. And that's a real problem, isn't it, in the eyes of the God, if you like, or if this is the kingdom of God, which I truly believe it is, then we're in a real sad place, that's for sure. And I didn't want to be part of that. I was part of that, but I don't want to be part of that anymore. That's why you'll feel yourself feeling very separated in awakening, because you separate from what everyone else is believing in. But whatever people believe in, I go, if that's what you believe in, it's fine. Believe in what you want. I believe in what I want. See, there's the problem. I believe in what I believe, but it could be someone else's problem. I don't mind what anyone believes in. It's not my problem, and I won't make it a problem. Why should I? It's a waste of my time and energy. James Atkinson, been watching you for 5 years. Thanks for saying my name. James Atkinson, thanks for saying my name. Okay, James, there you go, said it. Thanks for saying your name. Right, Sarah. Well, welcome to the show, James. What have you learned in 5 years? Have you discovered your Be Me? Sarah, did you get to a point where it seemed like there was no point to get any desire because you're aware that every desire is empty? Yeah, there was. There was a big point in that. You'll actually get to a point where you think, God, there's just no point. There's no point in any of this. And then you get to the point, are you saying this? Are you getting to the point, it's like, well, it doesn't matter what I say that I want. There's no point to it because I don't seem to get what I want and something else may be getting something else. So The desire can be empty. It's a big one. You can work like this. You can paint these great thoughts. So that's what I'm going to do, and that's how I'm going to do it. It's called business. You know, you can make a 5-year plan, apparently. I don't know how, but apparently you can. And so therefore you can follow your desires, which I always say is your intuition as a feeling. Desires are a feeling, so you follow them, right? Or you can take it to the soul's level, is that you're following them. But what you're doing is that you're following them because you feel it's right to be. But what you might be saying is, it's like, but I found disappointment at the end of it. And then you sort of think, what was the point? It will make sense because every point in every part of your journey makes up your life. And every part you go through, or every door that you step through, or every chapter that you understand and experience, you are creating that as your story of life. So there is a point to it. Whereas in that beginning of it all, there's absolutely no point in it. So we do discover the point of it. For me, it's Bemeism and healing and transformation, all of these things. So there is a point in it. Maybe you might not have just got it quite yet, but on a soul's level, it knows everything, and it's way on point as well. James Atkinson's, do you have a question for Trev? Okay. No. Oh, lost it. Right, it's all gone there. Right, okay. Mouse. Right, hi Dino. Right, where's Dino? Right, Dino's here somewhere. Right, hi Dino. Just to say thank you and keep going. Thanks. I shall keep going to the very end of my breath, as they say. Right, hi Dino. Right, James, do you play chess? Is that directed at me? Yeah, it's called angel chess. I play angel chess. It's an unseen game with an unseen entity. Because every time I seem to make a move, some strange unidentified entity keeps making a move. And so I've looked at life as... I don't play chess, by the way. I have no idea what they all mean. Other than the guy that invented it, and that was a brilliant concept of how he was going to get paid because he created the game. And yeah, it's an interesting game. People love it. The Gambit was on. I kind of watched it. I thought, oh my God, that's brilliant. But I wouldn't have time for chess. But it's strategy. And I think for me, the game of life is like a game of chess. And there's been many games where I felt checkmate. And then for me, that was the human story. I played the game of chess called life. And then I fell into that dark night of the soul, which is all about my soul, which meant in my inner world, I was making a move on the chessboard, and the higher self was also making a move on the chessboard. So again, I played a game of angel chess, which meant I didn't really know who I was playing up against, but I knew somebody was playing because they kept checkmating me until I got the idea behind the game. So yes and no. Ellie Wynn, very interesting. James Atkinson, can you describe the relationship between healing and action? Healing and action. Relationship between healing and action. Well, an action is going to... Oh, God, that's a big... You've got two big titles there. Healing and action and relationship. Healing is a relationship. The action that we take is to discover that relationship. And if there's things within yourself that you know that can be changed, then action can only happen. But if I take it on another level, where I truly got to the point where I knew that I could be a healer, but maybe I'm not, but maybe I could be a healer. It wasn't until I took action that went, oh yeah, I'm definitely that. I can claim that title because I've done that. So there's always action. I think relationship, healing and action, you could sum up life. You can sum up Bemeism with that. Because the art of life, if you said what is the meaning and purpose to life, I say it's a relationship. And if it's not a good relationship, then we use the next word, which is like, well, something needs to be healed to make it a great relationship. and that would take action, and that was Bemeism. Hi Trev, hi Dino. Sarah, that's what I meant, the angel chest. There's no move that I can make without a counter move. No, there isn't. Every move is moved. It's how you get to understand the gift of your prayers being answered and it's being played out in front of you. Because I realised that every question I was putting out was, say like I wanted to be healed, right? So I put out to God, oh, I want to be healed. Then I found myself going through a shitload more of the stuff, and I thought, well, this ain't right. This can't be healing. But the reason why it was healing is because it wanted me to go through an experience to then see if I could heal it. So I thought God was quite cruel, or my spirit or my higher self was quite cruel, because I thought, well, you're not really helping me out here. You're just putting me more into more danger and more situations I need to try and understand. At the time, they seemed dramatically wrong, and they was very bad and awful and horrible and all of these great things. But now when I look at it and I think, thank God. So the God or the universe puts you through this to say, well, you wanted to know how to heal. Well, this is how you do that. And it's a bit fucked up, right? Because you just want something that happens. It's like, oh my God, now I feel healed, you know. Oh God, I feel great. I sent it out to the universe and God said, you will be healed and all of these things. So healing is truly the great word. But I also know it this way. You have to prove to your God that you can do this, rather than pleading for God to help you. Because there was a big moment in my life when I went, fuck you, I'll show you what I can do, and I'll show you that I can heal this. I actually don't need your help. But you know, in the eyes of that greater self, it would say, bad time you got off that and started getting going. That's exactly right. Right, Trevor, go to live stream, gift of 3 letters. I can write it out again if you want. I am on live stream. I'm on live chat. I'll go to, right, Trevor, go to live stream, the gift of 3 letters. I can write it all out again. Oh, did you write something on, oh, see, what was that, the last video? Did you leave a comment or something on the last video? Is that the live stream you're talking about? Yes, that's what I mean, says Sarah, angel chest. Yeah, it's great, isn't it? Yeah, of course, the darkness knows your moves. It knows your mind. It's tricking you. It's a game. It's a game worth playing, though, but you got to get clever, hence chess. You've got to know your opponent's way of thinking. Right, Sarah, it sounds like you're really going through the journey. You're kind of mystified by it. You're kind of getting moments of it, and then you just kind of think, is this normal? And I'm hoping that when I answer, you kind of go, oh, thank God for that. If Trevor's been through it, it must, you know, and I'm going through it, it must make sense somewhere. So, yeah, angel chess. Might create that. Right, Holly, right. Dino says, commercial society is chess. Yeah, it is chess. And it all depends how good we are at playing. I think that's the way. It is a good game of chess, that's for sure. So many, but I didn't realise there were so many moves one could make. Healing is more inner. It is. Action is doing something both verbs, I guess, says Double E. Good question. Thank you, Beamies, for being. Your presence is a gift. Ellie Wynn, hope to find you again. Bye for now. Bye, Ellie. I'm over here laughing because I'm right there. I'm over here laughing because I'm right there. Oh, right, okay, because you're right in it. You're right there with it. Right, brilliant. Okay, Ollie Ann, yes, give the 3 letters and you commented back. Right, I'll write it again. Okay. It's the only thing with this. It'd be nice next time this would all be voices somewhere. I don't know if that's advisable, but it would be nice. On TV, we used to do live comments, but of course you had to pay for that. You could send a live comment over the airways. So that way I got to listen to somebody's voice, because a lot to do with the frequency and vibration of the voice, really. You can pick up so much with that, whereas words, you know, not so much. I don't know who anyone is. I can kind of get an idea behind the words, but words are words. But once you get to understand the real person, that's when the energy starts to work. That's why it makes sense to have a meeting with me, because I can work with you. These YouTubes are not really like the meetings. It's a total different thing. It's about bringing the master out in you, and you getting to the point. It's like, oh God, that makes sense, you know. We can do Zoom live. We can do Zoom live, as in Skype and then Zoom. Is that what you mean? I write it down again. You give the 3 letters, and you commented back. Right, okay. Right, guys, we're coming up for nearly 2 hours. We'll leave it soon. I think I got right down to the bottom now. Did I miss anybody? I think I managed to get through. Again, there's a lot of changes happening at this moment in time, and what we've got to do is not get caught up by it. And it's going to be very hard, considering the sheep are going to create that funnel that we're all going to slip into. And of course, we're all going to be adhering to certain rules and regulations. You know, we came here to become free, really. And that's the true meaning behind being a messenger. Free the slaves. And I wish somebody came and saved me at that particular time and freed me from it all and said, come over this way, because that's killing you. But looks like it's the other way around. Once, while meditating, my body was scanned while I was floating. Has anyone experienced this? A scanning of one's body is like, we actually do that. We do that to a lot. You do it a lot. We all do it. Everyone's scanning you. Look at the world at the moment. What's AI? Well, it's scanning. What's everything we're doing on here? It's all scanning something, isn't it? But scanning, that's an intuitive healer. Scans. You can scan the body. You can scan the body by feeling the different changes in the temperature and the pressures on the body through energy and the frequency and the vibration of being sensitive. So yeah, I mean, that word scanned is a big word. So yes, if that's whilst meditating, your body was scanned while you was floating, again, that's your experience. That is teaching you something. And it is for you to understand and ask your soul, what does that mean? What does that mean to me? Can it happen again? Did you get scanned from something that was, who do you think was scanning you? So again, you can scan yourself for a lot of things in many, many different ways. That's when you're really taking a real good look at yourself. But scanning yourself, I did a healing one. Oh my God, I forgot all about this one. This one's not even in the book. I was scanning a woman, because I scan the body first, right? And I pick up on the energies of it. And I come to the stomach, and I said to her, you've had, oh God, the word's gone right out of my head now. What is it when you have the baby doesn't come out the normal channels, you have the incision and the baby comes out? Hysterectomy? No, it's not hysterectomy. Whatever it is, I can't think of the bloody word. It's gone right out of my head. Anyway, I knew that she had. And I turned around and said, that still gives you trouble, isn't it? I said, when's the last time you had a kid? She went, 40 years ago. I went, I'm telling you now, they stitched you up wrong. She went, I fucking knew it, she went, this has gave me nothing but grief since, is the answer come up yet of what it means when you give birth at being cut open? I can't think of the bloody word now, and I've lost my story now. But anyway, so I was scanning the body, and I absolutely knew, and it's almost as if the outer skin of her body disappeared, and I was seeing what the mistake was. Oh, I've got itchy tongue now, and you can scan the body. You can see beyond the body. You can see beyond the matter, Because once you disturb the matter and you change the vibration of the matter, it becomes atoms. And atoms are not touching, they're separate. Hi, Holly. Trevor, are you very sure that when we die, we, as in everything that exists, that we continue to exist? When you exist, can you unexist? I was going to say, if you are aware that you exist, can you unexist? Oh God, you're saying something else there to me. I get it. Trevor, are you very sure that when we die, we, as in everything that exists, that we continue to exist? When you exist, can you unexist? I was going to say, if you are aware that you exist, can you unexist? Well, are you turning around and... Do you know what? There's the big one, isn't there? Is it good to think that you would just die and think, thank God for that, there's nothing else, it's over? Is there a moment in there that is just, oh God, that's so nice? Or are you saying, is there a moment when you go over and you go, oh shit, I've still got to put up with me? It's got a kind of a different essence to it. So you could be saying, shit, am I going to spend eternity with myself? I mean, can I unexist? I don't think you can unexist, because I think energy, you can't get rid of energy. Nobody leaves this planet. Everyone is here. Everyone that ever was is here. It's in the ground or up in the air somewhere. It's floating around. Nobody escapes this planet. So we're existing somehow, somewhere. But it's how do I want to exist? And that's why I believe that Bemeism truly was my saviour, because when I was in the dark night of the soul, if I'd gone over in the dark night of the soul, I would have existed in that awareness of that energy of the dark night of the soul, which I don't think was good. And I think it can give a sense of energy and frequency, which I also didn't think was good. And sometimes it would have been nice if we just didn't exist and think, well, fuck it. Doesn't matter. I believe, because of what I've seen, that something exists. And you know, I've seen my nan so many times, and families and things like that. So how can they not exist if I'm seeing them, listening to them, speaking to them, feeling them, sitting on the bed, or whatever be the case? And that's just the low end of the scale of what I know exists. So it does. But I wanted to leave the human programming here. I didn't want to go over and turn around and say, what the fuck was that all about? Because I have no idea. I didn't want to do that. And I didn't want to not leave here without a story. And I didn't want to not leave here without knowing that I could change something about myself, or do the very best that I possibly could, or to experience life in whatever way I can. I didn't want to leave over in that condition. So I do believe that you can transform oneself from here to appreciate oneself on the other side, because I don't want to be an arsehole. And I suppose if I looked at my life, I could look at it and sort of say, well, we kind of are, but then that's just the programming anyway. I think it's about evolution. And if we truly believe that we come backwards and forwards, which I don't, but I mean, if we did, that would be the only reason why we would keep coming backwards and forwards, is because we wanted to change the condition of how we was going to be eternally. But it's proven fact, scientifically fact, that energy, you can't destroy energy. It will exist somewhere. I think there's another underlining question to that, isn't there, Ollie, I believe? Let me know. Send me a private message. Bad nurse. It felt like a being was scanning me. It was made of light. Okay, great. If it felt like, then it was. And why shouldn't it be? Your higher self? Could be God scanning you. But if you felt it, then you felt it. C-section. Yes. Caesarean. Yes. Thank you. C-section. Caesarean. Yes. Yes, that's when I was scanning and I realised that she had gone through one of them, and she always believed she got stitched up wrong. And it was the first thing I told her. It looks like you've been stitched up wrong. I mean, how would I know? I don't know. I've never seen inside a woman's body to even know what any of that looks like. But it was her complaint to it all where the stomach complaints were coming from. Ectopic pregnancy. No, it's not that one. When I was a child, I had a guardian angel. She was made of light too. It didn't feel the same, but similar. Yeah. Yeah, I had one of them. Oh, yeah, got me thinking now. And they're beautiful words, isn't it? Guardian angel. I love that. I think they really took the angel to the wrong level, though. You know, we always see angels in armour, shields and swords and stuff like that. But yeah, you see a lot when you're a child, and it's remembering it. And that's what, again, the part of the pathway is getting back to what you used to see before the programming said, no, probably you didn't, you know, but you did. If that was your guardian angel and that was your guardian angel, she was made of light too. It's true. You know, I understand that thing of light. I've seen so much about light. I've even got to the place where, you know, this room just disappeared and all it was light. It was simple as that, and that was the one in the hotel room. And there was someone that was witnessing me going mental, really, or leaving the building. So yeah, we are made of light. We are made of light. It's scientifically proven fact as well, and plus ancients spoke about it thousands of years ago. It's our light. That is the question, isn't it? You know, Oleanne continued, but that might leave out plants, insects, animals, earth, and everything that exists in the universe. But how would I know if they exist? Maybe they do know. They are aware. Oh, it's all aware, Ollie. It's all aware. It's everything's aware. It's the consciousness that it's aware. Everything's aware. The plants, everything is very aware of itself in a way that it's again scientifically proven. They can hear forests communicating, trees and bushes and grass and everything. Everything's communicating. It's very aware. And I suppose, really, in all honesty, I mean, you know, I've never really thought about it on the animal kingdom. I know dogs and that. I've seen dogs and cats kind of exist. I've seen so many of them. But as for ants and things that I really don't know. I mean, I think the earthly realm, I think it's whatever we want to paint as a picture. Because when I went over to the other side and I spoke to somebody that died, her awareness and levels of consciousness just put her into a place that she felt comfortable in. So that was her world. That was her kingdom, if you like. So that was interesting and strange. But it let me know that level brings the mediumship. So if I connected to her and she came through and I was a medium, say, oh, she lived in this type of house and her furniture looked like this, and she had these very special plates on the dresser, and oh, she had this black and white sheepdog named whatever, and we kind of know all that because that's the picture that she's changing, that she's painting for me to be able to interpret. Right, just assume, damn, forget it. Right, okay, I'll send it to you later. Yeah, send it to me later. I was feeling, right, I was just assume, damn, forget it. Oleanne, I felt I was existing in depression. Saw you popping out. Right, Seeker. She was pure white light. Used to sit at the end of my bed. Yeah. Try and connect back in with her. She's also a reflection of oneself. Mother Earth is very much alive. Yeah, beautiful Mother Earth. It's the Be Me. Been writing a lot about that as well. Beautiful Mother Earth. Blessed Mother Energy. Bad Nurse, I believe everything has energy that is connected. We are connected. Yeah, we are definitely connected. Einstein believed that we wasn't. And through that, he created E equals MC squared and all of his other genius and creative ways of being. But he truly believed that we was not influencing the world and we wasn't connected and there was space in between this and that. But now we know that that's wrong, and there is connection between this and that and me and you and everything else. So yeah, we are truly connected. When you feel disconnected is when you're trying to pull away from the, oh God, that's a big story, that is. Yeah, energy, truly are connected. It took me a while to understand it, but when you hear it, it makes sense and you get to understand it. But we are truly connected. Listen, how many of your relationships you think about, you're still connecting to them. Anyone you've had a relationship with, you're still connecting to them. Nothing disconnects. It's truly a palace of light. As I saw it on the other side, to me, that's what it was. It was a palace of light, and it shimmered in certain darker shades of shimmering white light to create a structural form or bend in the kingdom, if you like. And it was all quantum, which meant if you touched it, you became part of it. Long story. Thank you, Trevor. You're so kind to me and everyone. Thank you, Wally. Thank you for that. Thank you, Trevor. Right, guys, 2 hours. Let's leave it there. Great chat, I believe. I liked it. I don't know what I said, but I'll go back and I'll look at it and fathom out what I was saying in all of it all, which is what I love, really. It's just being in the cuff. It's just working in the moment. It's just being in the moment. And I kind of love that. And it's a big one, really, because even when I was dealing with people with questions on TV, I didn't know what questions were going to come. And I remember when I very first got on TV and people asking questions, I was like, I have no idea how to answer these, you know. But now, because of Bemeism, because now I've gained a different experience and knowledge and wisdom about myself, I can answer quite a lot of things on the human side because, as I said, I used to be a human and I stopped being a human, so I'm a Beamie. So my Beamie can see the human story. But my human self didn't understand the human story. So that means the human was the problem, but the human in me couldn't fix it. Does that make sense? So therefore, the higher self Beamie stepped in and said, we can heal this. Right, I'm in constant checkmate. Then you may need to play a new game. Does that make sense? Maybe it's time for a new game. Or you're looking at repetitive patterns. Are you seeing a lot of repetitive patterns that go, oh my God, no. It's the same. Checkmate. It will seem like that. I'm in constant checkmate. Then you need to learn the game. You need to learn a little bit more about yourself and you need to change your strategy. Think about it in a way that, why am I always checkmate? What moves do I make that gets me to be checkmate? Love to know, but we're ending now, but I'll see you again. Trevor, right, okay, I think I'm done, people. Okay, until next time, everyone, I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you have a really nice week. Until next week. Hopefully I don't leave it a week. I have moments. Right, I think we're done. Thank you all. Aha moment. Bye all you beamies. Bad nurse. Perfect. All right, that's 2 hours done. Love this. Okay, go onto the live feed, put a comment and whatever, because when I look at them, I think nobody's watching them. And nobody's going to see them if I don't get comments on there for YouTube to recognise it. You know, my message is good. I love the message. I think it helps a lot of people. But if I don't get beyond YouTube's way of doing things, it doesn't go anywhere. Dino, I'll see you. I'll speak to you real soon, mate. Good night and take care. Oh, take care. All beamies. Yeah, all beamies. Take care. Believe in self. Heal oneself. Understand oneself. And most importantly, stop giving yourself an hard time. It's destroying you. And on that note, I'll see you on the other side. Or I'll see you in a couple of days' time. Speak to you then. Take care. Thanks, Double E, for doing everything. I'll speak to you all night.